boy.
Yeah. Yeah, we live, Bob.
Con. You at the bottom?
Yeah.
Shalom. Yeah, make sure you shalom. Shalom. Yeah, make sure you shalom.
Choppy.
Shalom.
System, see, yeah. It's
Shalom.
choppy. They're saying it's green.
It's good, right?
Yeah. They're saying it's green. It's just coming in a little choppy.
What color should it be?
They're saying it's green, but it's still coming up choppy as far as the voice. It's just coming in a little choppy.
What color should it be?
They're saying it's green, but it's still coming up.
Alright.
Well, let me, because it may be picking up two sounds.
Yeah. Yep.
Let me turn that down. And, can you hear anything on yours?
Yeah, we straight, man.
Come.
Yeah, we're good.
Come.
Alright. Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to say Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Of course, we're going to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom and salutation to all you sincere occupants across the four winds, pushing the truth with sincerity of heart. Of course, it's DC Camp, GMS Truth Sent. Of course, I'm the brother Kasamagan. You got the brother
Zion Allah.
And of course, through the spirit, man, of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shad, the Lord, put it in my spirit to start a project, and of course, the Most High through the spirit had the brother join me on this project. So it's gonna be a long-term project through the spirit. It might be, it might be full chapters or part 1 or part 2. Like this one right here be a part 1. Basically, it's going into the diaspora. It's going into the diaspora. What is the diaspora about? And who are the people that actually went through the diaspora? And you find out that the diaspora, it's about the nation of Israel. It's about the dispersed of the nation of Israel. As a matter of fact, Baksha, can you look up the pull up the word diaspora? Pull up the word diaspora and go to Elam Online. Go to Elam Online and pull up the word diaspora. Because hey, listen, we in the end times. The scripture say that when the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua is preached in the four corners, then the end shall come. You see what's going on over there in the Middle East? Hey, it's hot over there in the Middle East. You got Iran really in Syria right now. Iran and Israel hitting each other. Israel actually shot up to 60 rockets to some against some Iranian jets or whatever. But the reason why Iran really hasn't retaliated is because Iran is what? They're in Syria. So really, Iran legitimately is not supposed to be in Syria. Neither is Israel supposed to be legitimately supposed to be in Syria. That's the reason why all these things are happening. You don't really hear a whole lot of hoopla about it. But this is the beginning stages of the Third World War. So as this is happening, guess what's happening? The elect of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai are being sealed according to what? Revelation 7th chapter. Which I'm going to get that right quick. This is in Revelation chapter 7 verse 1. It says, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree." Right? It says, "And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, Verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. So who is the servants of the power of the Lord? Is talking about the elect out of the nation of Israel, man. The 144,000 and the 1/3. You know, and the Spirit of the Lord now is working to the point where you have all these camps coming out of the four corners, man. So now through the Spirit, what we're going to do in this project, we're going to go into, you know, the fact and show proof and evidence through books, and mainly, what's that? Babylon and Timbuktu. Yeah, mainly, right, and mainly we're going to be using, you know, from Babylon and Timbuktu. So we're going to be reading chapters in Babylon and Timbuktu. We're going to go into details, you know, and, you know, we got the technology through the Spirit, the unicorn, so we're going to be able to project images, so you brothers will be able to see images of, so, you know, countries and nations and tribes and the people and how they look like, the languages that they speak. Why? And the reason why is to show that the nation of Israel was scattered amongst all the heathens, man. And that you're going to have Israelites that look like the heathens, right? But guess what? If they're part of the elect and their spirit resonates with this truth, then it is your job. Those are brothers. Those are brothers. You cannot look at them in the outward appearance. So we're going to get into the history, a little bit of secular history, you know, a hidden history from Esau as well. So, you straight?
Yeah, come. I'm just trying to see.
Brothers, get brothers' ears. Come on, brother. So, you straight? Yeah, we good. We good.
Come.
All right, brother. Pull up diaspora. Let's get the definition of the word.
Okay, diaspora. It says from Greek, diaspora, dispersion, to scatter about, disperse, about, across, about, across, dia, sperin, to scatter. All right, to sprout. So you basically scatter. It's like James 1:1 to the 12 tribes was scattered abroad, but dispersed abroad. You know, basically.
That's right. So the dia, D-I-A, means across or about, and spora goes back to sperin, to scatter, scattered about or scattered across. That's what the word diaspora means. Now we got to figure out who were the ones who were scattered abroad. You know, that was a movement. That diaspora was a movement, and really we're gonna focus in the diaspora post 70 AD. That's gonna be the main focus through the Spirit, because although prior to 70 AD, the nation of Israel was, you know, you would find Israelites in different lands. You know, you would find the Israelites in different lands. But in this particular project, we're going to go into Israel and post 70 AD and the scattering, and how you have Israelites that are still living in the land. In particular, this one, we're going to focus on the land of Ham, and in particular, Northern Africa. So we're going to, you know, we're going to go into different details about Israelites living in Northern Africa under colonial names such as Ethiopia, Libya, Egypt, and, you know, Tunisia, Morocco, so on and so forth. So if you happen to watch the video and you happen to recognize your nation, your so-called country, so-called tribe, you know, and you watching the video, understand you are one of us, you're an Israelite.
Right.
You know? So I got this is Leviticus. Well, as a matter of fact, let's get to get Luke. Because with Yahweh Shai, you know, we're going to bring scriptures about Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior, had a vision. And he's seen the walls of Jerusalem fall. And he's seen 70 AD come. And he warned the nation of Israel about 70 AD. And the scattering that was going to happen, you know, off of that the Roman besiege of Jerusalem in 70 AD.
What's it, Luke 19? Luke 19:41. Right. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace.
Question right quick, brother. Can you able to flip the image to the screen?
Yeah, come.
Oh, okay. I was just asking.
This is what they're looking at right now.
Oh, well, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, come. All right, read again, slide.
It's verse 42, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least is this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thine eyes. This, as a matter of fact, was on the screen, is what they're looking at.
Yep.
Verse 43, for the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side.
Right. Basically, Yahushua basically told Israel that, hey, listen, the time is coming where you're going to have, you know, a Roman, your enemies, because who were our enemies back then? We were under Roman occupation. And the Romans, of their nationality was whom? The Edomites, the so-called white race, the devil that the Bible speaks of. So the Lord was speaking about 70 AD and how we were going to be compassed around about. So, and then something was going to happen off of that. Meaning we was going to have to what? We was going to get kicked out of the land. Some of us actually were encircled. You know, when you look at, what's that, the other part, Masada. Masada was encircled. But there was millions of Israelites, millions of Jews, especially from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that was able to flee, you know, while the persecution was happening or pre-persecution. Others wasn't able to flee, like in Masada, and then they were compassed about, and famine kicked in, and all type of atrocities was done. But we're gonna focus on the ones that were able to flee, you know, into the land of Africa.
Right.
You know, in particular, we're gonna focus on Northern Africa. So go ahead, go back to it.
All right. Now it says,
and you can interject too.
Come, verse 44, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
That's right. Hey, they're not going to leave what? One stone upon another. That was the besiege of Jerusalem in 70 AD, man.
Desolation.
That's right, the desolation. You know, you have Vespasian, Titus, and what's the other one? There was Vespasian, Titus, and it said doing Julius, doing Pompey, Titus. It was Titus, Vespasian.
Was it Domitian?
Domitian. Yeah, right. Domitian, Vespasian, and Titus during that time, and you can see images. You still got images that show how the Romans actually were desecrating and how the Ark of the Covenant was being pretty much held and paraded around. And Titus even came up with an ark. You know, you got that image?
Yep, that's exactly what I was going
to. Yeah, Titus even came up with an ark to pretty much a symbol. It was a symbol of victory against the nation of Israel. And because of that victory that the Romans had back in 70 AD, it brought about a scattering. Like the brother got it right there. That's the Ark of Titus. It brought about a scattering of the nation of Israel, man. And the majority of the nation of Israel at that particular time, as it's gonna, as it's gonna say when we start reading, fled into the west coast of Africa. But that's not the only place in which they fled into. They started. A lot of them remained in North Africa, the northern parts of Africa. Some of them went into the eastern parts of Africa. Some of them went all the way down to the southern parts of Africa, and others. And of course, as we know, the majority went and remained and stayed in the western part of Africa. So, finish with that scripture. Go back to Luke, and we're gonna start reading Babylon 10:2.
Okay. Luke. Yeah, it was done pretty much right there. Verse 44 was done.
Come, I got a precept. This is Leviticus. Wow. This is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 33. Well, verse 32. It says, "And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it." Verse 33. "And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste." So the Heavenly Father prophesied at what, man, way back during the time of Leviticus, that an enemy was going to come down and besiege our land.
That's right.
And we and then bring about what? The scattering of the nation of Israel, which is another word for scattering is what? The diaspora of the nation of Israel. So we getting into it now. So
and that's part of the reason. And that's part of the reason why we was told to go out and teach.
That's right.
To the nations, because we were scattered amongst them.
That's right.
That's the main reason why we don't go to the hood.
That's right.
And where places where it's predominantly one group of people.
That's right.
Because our people are scattered and they look like all types of nations.
That's right.
Okay? And that's even Leviticus 26 matches up with Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter.
That's right.
You know, it's the same thing that happened in there. We got dispersed.
That's right.
All right.
All right, brother.
Go. Okay. This is from Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. Okay. It says the North African black Jews. In the year 331, that Alexander the Great defeated the Persian Emperor Darius at the Battle of Gargamella, incorrectly called Arbela. A new master emerged on the world stage and transformed the history and culture of 3 continents. However, Alexander died, and I just want to say this about that Darius. Now, a lot of scholars, so-called scholars, say that Darius never existed. They just say that last Darius never existed. It just went straight to Cyrus, and you can't look it up. But look, this scholar found out who it was, man, and it does. See, they try to discredit the Bible.
Yeah.
It says, a new master emerged on the world stage and transformed the history and culture of 3 continents. However, Alexander died in the prime of his life at the age of 32 because of debauchery and intoxication. Before the death of Alexander, his desire was to establish a Eurasian state.
Right.
His scheme was to amalgamate.
Hey, brother, pull up that map while we read it. Pull up that the image that we on the map that we had earlier while we read it. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
It says his dream, his scheme was to amalgamate the Greeks with the Asians. This was implemented by the widespread marriage of his troops with the colored women of the East. Most of his troops remained in the subjugated countries and became absorbed into the native population. After the death of Alexander, his vast empire was divided among his generals. Ptolemy received Egypt and Seleucus received Asia. As time elapsed, there was constant war between these 2 dynasties. By the year 198 BC, the descendants of General Seleucus had their capital in Syria, just north of Palestine. In this same year, the Seleucid dynasty in Syria compelled Egypt to give up Palestine. Right,
you know, that goes back to Daniel's 11, the king of the south and the king of the north. It's talking about the 2 dynasties, the Seleucid dynasty and the Ptolemy dynasty, and the wars that happened during those times, right?
Syria compelled Egypt to give up Palestine, the land of the Jews. The king of Syria at this time was Antiochus III, or Antiochus III, right? When Antiochus IV, or the 4th, usurped the throne in Syria, 175 to 163 BC, he entertained the thought of uniting Alexander's empire. This meant the conquest of Egypt. However, the province that bordered on Egypt was Palestine, which stood in his way. At this time, the Jews would not accept Greek culture. Nevertheless, Antiochus was determined to Hellenize the Jews, and that's where you get First Maccabees. All right. The army of Antiochus marched into Palestine to support Menelaus, the leader of the pro-Syrian party. As a result, many Jews were killed. Others escaped to the hills into Egypt.
All right, let me bring this precept because it kind of goes into that as well. Because it was not a first, like I said, as far as the nation of Israel escaping into the hills and fleeing into the land of Africa, that's something that Israel knew. You gotta, can you get that, Matthews, with Yahushua going to Egypt? You know, so fleeing into an Israelite leaving the land of Israel and going into the land of the continent of Africa, in particular Egypt, was not nothing new. It was not something that was uncommon. So when you go into the diaspora, what you realize is that the influence of Israel is heavy in the so-called African continent, which is known as Khum in the Hebrew, which is hot. You know, it's heavy. In Egypt and the Egyptians, that goes back to Matazarian. You know, one of the go back to Matazarian, one of the sons of Ham, man. The Philistines in particular, man. That's what it's going into. It's the so-called modern-day Sudanese. So you've always had a heavy influence of what? Of Israelites, of Israel in the continent of Africa, man.
Sure.
That's where you get that word diaspora. It's something that, although they teach in school, right? In school they always speak about the diaspora and all, but they don't tell you the diaspora it was always about us, about how we migrated out of our land and we got dispersed and scattered across the four winds, right?
This is Matthew 2, verse 12. And being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt. And be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
That's right. So Egypt, like I said, right there, like we read, it shows you that Egypt was a land in which Israel would constantly go in and out of, man. We had access into that land, man. So it's not nothing new. Go ahead up. Go back to
the book. This is
pull up the map.
Yep.
Before you go back and read it.
This is continuing on the North African black Jews. It says the army of Antiochus marched into Palestine to support Menelaus, the leader of the pro-Syrian party. As a result, many Jews were killed. Others escaped to the hills and to Egypt. Only those Jews that supported Antiochus's policies remained in Jerusalem, and the edict was promulgated interdicting the observance of the holidays, the Sabbath, and circumcision. A statue of Jupiter was erected in the holy temple above the altar.
That's right. That was desecrating the temple, man, because that was supreme idol worship, man. Right.
To this statue, the people brought the sacrifices of pig meat, the animal which is an abomination to the Jews, abomination to desolation. When you read it, Maccabees, it says, because of this religious persecution, the legitimate high priest Onias III and many other Jews fled into Africa, African countries such as Egypt, Ethiopia, and Cyrenaica, which is Libya.
Right, which those are the three main nations, countries that we're gonna focus on this chapter is Egypt, Ethiopia, and Libya. Now, of course, you got Egypt. When you talking about Egypt, of course, throughout the history, we was talking about it. You know, when the nation of Israel got out of, when we were delivered out of Egypt, Egypt fell as a hardcore power, as the supreme power on the earth, but Egypt still had a continual kingdom, so to speak. They had a continual kingdom. You know, so when we went back and forth out of that place, remember, when Yahushua is going back to Egypt, what is he going back to? He's going back to Egypt. Where you're gonna find who are the Egyptians? We just said it. Matazami. You got a Bible dictionary on hand, Yahushua?
Well, this might not be the same as the other one.
It's not. Is this a different one?
It's a different Bible dictionary, but it may say something similar.
Well, pull up Ham and see what it says.
It says Ham, one of Noah's sons. The sons of Ham are listed as part of the Bible, or as part of the table of the nations. This system of classifying peoples was apparently ethnic and geographical. The biblical Hamites ranged from Phoenicia through Palestine and into Africa.
Right, because when it says Phoenicia and Palestine, Phoenicia is talking about right next to. Phoenicia was located in the Middle East. It's talking about really with the land of Israel that was once upon a time called the land of Canaan, right, or South Phoenicia. It's talking about in the Middle East. Why? Because that's where Canaan dwelt. Now, like I said, upon the after Noah's Ark, pretty much landed in Turkey, right? As we know, the sons of Noah dispersed, and the scripture tells you in Genesis, if I can get that right quick, the scripture tells you in Genesis that that Canaan, Japheth, and Shem stayed in the Middle East. Ham went down to Africa, but out of Ham, one of Ham's 4 sons, Canaan, remained in the Middle East. That's why you had the land of Canaan. So the 3 sons of Ham went down to Africa, but one of his sons, Canaan, remained in the Middle East. Why did he remain in the Middle East? Because remember, Canaan was cursed. He was cursed by Noah that he was going to be a servant and he was going to serve his brothers. So it was prophecy, and for that cause that Canaan had to stay there so that we would come back later on with Joshua, right, and take that land because Canaan is our servants. And then when they got kicked out, that's when eventually through history, Canaan traveled and found their way back down to what we know today as South Africa.
Remember when they searched out the land with Joshua, when they searched out the land, remember they said the land flowed with milk and honey?
That's right.
Because it was a good land.
That's
so
right.
Of course they would see a land like that and stay.
That's right.
But they wasn't going to keep it because that land was basically ours. Basically the Lord was returning the land back to the original people anyway.
That's right.
When you think about it, the earth was, when people came on the earth, where were they put at? They said eastward in Eden. So that's that region over there.
That's right.
So when a flood happened and the Lord wiped that whole area out and we ended up in Turkey,
right.
And guess what? Eventually, through time, we was going to go back to where we were, right. You know, in the land of Israel.
That's right. Now, this is Genesis chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, "And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord power of Shem." And we are Shemites. That's where you get Israel. It says, and he said, Blessed be the Lord power of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Yahweh Bashemel shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. You see that? Because the Lord said he's going to enlarge Japheth, meaning he's going to make Japheth a great nation. Yep. But he said that what? That Japheth is going to dwell in the tents of Shem. What is the tents of Shem? Is the Middle East. That's the reason why when you go back to original Greeks, going back to Joanne, dark-skinned man is talking about Japheth. Japheth remained in the Middle East right along with Shem. And then also who? Canaan. You see that? It says Canaan remained in the Middle East as well. Why? Because the other three sons of Ham, they're the ones who went straight down to Africa, right. To what you know today as Africa. Right. So that's just a little bit of history on that. So what you got?
Finish some more on Ham. Right. Even in this one, it says it says the biblical Hamites ranged from Phoenicia through Palestine and into Africa. Right. They included the Cushites, south of the Red Sea, the Egyptians, the Canaanites, right. And Put, which is Libya.
That's right, Put, which is Libya. Now pull up. Let's go to Egypt right quick. Pull up you can just go to Google. Pull up. Because back then the Egyptians really was still the Sudanese, right? Just pull up. Yeah, pull up. Because if you pull up Egypt right now, it's gonna give you them Arabs. So pull up the Sudanese. And just type in Sudanese tribes. Yeah, Sudanese tribes, and see what comes up. Yeah. Those are images. Yeah. Yeah, those are some. But see, that's why we gotta be. Well, let me get the scripture. Yep. I gotta get this scripture, man. Because it's certain nations are really rough to look at, man.
Clearly not the same people.
This is John. I always bring this out. This is John chapter 7. John chapter 7, verse 24. It says, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment."
That's right.
So as Israelites, you can't be quick and be emotional and look at these people. These are the original Egyptians. And be like, well, man, these ugly ass looking motherfuckers, and then they are. I mean, they are. But remember, the Lord is spiritual. Oh, can you get that scripture out? Well, actually, I got it. John. It's the same chapter. This is John chapter 4. John chapter 4, verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is. Well, I'm gonna start at 22. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship. For salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not looking for an Israelite, for a servant, an Israelite man who's going to look at these pictures. Put the images back again. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not looking for servants or prophets who's going to look at images such as the images of the Philistine or the Egyptians, so to speak, and then immediately judge according to the physical, the physical appearance. You're like, well, oh man, they look horrible. The nation of Israel the nation of Israel is beautiful, yeah. But remember, we are a beautiful people because of what? Because of our spirit. Yep. Because our spirit is the same spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's what makes us beautiful first and foremost. Because check this out. Yeah, on outward appearance, we may look beautiful, we may look your pop. But what happened when you get into a car wreck? And you looking all fucked up? You're looking worse than these damn Edomites with your head all twisted up. So all of a sudden, because you got in a car accident and you looking crazy out here, looking like a fucking alien and shit, now all of a sudden you're not beautiful no more. Right. So what makes you your pop is what? What makes you your pop is the spirit. That's right. So when we look at the nations and we look at throughout the diaspora, which is the dispersion and the scattering of Israelite souls, right, amongst the heathens, you have to be able to judge what? Spiritually, man. So when you look at these people, and these are just images, you look at these people, when they come towards you, especially in the last day, when all hell breaks loose, man, you might have, you're gonna have Israelites that's gonna look like that. That's gonna come at you and say, hey, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem HaKadosh. I've been watching videos for years. I just didn't have the guts, I didn't have the courage to stand up, to the camps because I felt like I was gonna be looked at all fucked up, But now all hell is breaking loose. I can't worry about that shit. He's coming at you sincerely. What you gonna do? You gonna reject that man? You can't do that because guess what? That's a brother. Whether you know it or not, that's a brother because if he's part of the elect and he looks like an Egyptian and a Hamite, part of that diaspora, that's a brother, man.
Can't call him common or unclean.
Can't call him common and clean, man. That's a brother. That's an Israelite spirit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the diaspora is about, man. Now get because I know we on the images, but go back to the image, but look on all, so we actually get some of the list, because there's three nations we dealing with today on part one. It's Egypt, Ethiopia, and Libya. So yeah, just go to, because this is just images, right? Go up to the same image on Google, but instead of image, go to it's the same title, but just click on all so we can actually get some the list of tribal names in Sudan.
Sudanese?
Yeah, Sudanese tribes. Because if you just put in Egyptian tribes, what's gonna come up is them Arabs, because those are the modern day Egyptians. But if you're talking about the diaspora, you're talking about ancient Egyptians. You're talking about Hamites. We're talking about Hebrew Israelites scattered amongst Ham, the land of Ham. That's the diaspora that happened in in Africa. We got a couple of them.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Just name them.
Nubian tribes, the far north.
Right. The Nubian. Actually, look up Nubian right quick on at them online, because that's another thing. Simple-headed Negroes in the conscious movement, they like to use that word Nubian queen and Nubianess. What is Nubian?
It says see Nubia, so I'm going straight to Nubia. Ultimately, from a local word said to be related to Coptic nupti, to weave, or from Nubian gold in the fashion sense, woman's light scarf. Latin nubis is cloud. See nuance.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what it is. So there ain't really much to the word, but like what, weave?
Yeah, weave.
I get, well, because Jake is trying to allocate that, the black woman's hair, and also the fact that them Hamites, you see how they got their hair all twisted up in a funny way. I mean, but that spirit is not. The Nubian spirit is a Hamitic spirit, but in the midst of the Nubian tribes, and what was that? in the midst of the in the midst of the Nubian tribes of Ham, right, part of the Sudanese tribe, you have guys that are actual they look like Hamites, Nubians, but when you get around them, they can do everything that you can and more. They can dance, they got rhythm, they got soul, they got swag, they got all of it. What do? Those are Israelites, part of the diaspora. What's the other ones, brother?
Now going back, it says Arabs, tribes of Central Sudan, Kordofan Darfur.
Oh yeah, you got the brother. GMS. GMS.
Right here.
Sac what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan.
That's right. GMS Saskatchewan. That's right. Hey, shalom to you out. Yahweh Shemel Shah Barakatah. You know what I'm saying? We going into it. Brother said, yep, I was born in Sudan. You know what I'm saying? That's the diaspora. I was born in Cameroon. You know what I'm saying? I was born here when I was younger. But that's part of the diaspora. And the Heavenly Father dispersed Israelite souls, man, across the four winds. And now the elect, Canada? Oh, you the one who put that up?
No, Army of 144.
Yeah, it was Army of 144.
Yeah, that's a month ago.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Shalom, Akia, Shalom, Zaquan, Managar. But yeah, we going into this, like I said, hey, Shalom, it's the diaspora, it's the dispersion, it's the scattering. And remember, when you look at the diaspora, don't look at it as just human flesh traveling through Africa. Look at Israelite spirits traveling through Africa. Israelite spirits being mingled amongst the Egyptians, amongst the Sudanese. You know? Because that happened. Because guess what? The spirit of an Israelite gets transferred through what? A Israelite sperm. So it's through flesh that the spirit flows through the flesh. Just like us. Our spirit is where? Located in flesh. But you got to get past the flesh and look straight at the spirit, man. So let's get back to at least give a list of the rest of them tribes, because we're not gonna go into all of them individually. We just gonna pick and pinpoint some of the ones that actually like come up. What's that?
Beja tribes in Eastern Sudan.
Beja tribe in Eastern Sudan.
Mapan and Agassana.
Right.
Agassana tribes in Southern Blue Nile. Nubian tribes. We said Nubian, but it says the Southern Kordofan. It says Southern Niletic tribes in South Sudan. Yeah,
copy and paste that and see what they look and see what they're saying about it. They say we're not gonna hit all of them because it would be we'd be here forever. Right. We just gonna pick and choose through the spirit. And what does it say about them?
Areas where Niletic languages are spoken.
Right.
I see men. The Ngorongoro, Tanzania. Is giving politicians.
Yeah, pull up Wikipedia. Yeah, read that. Wikipedia. Yep, at least the first paragraph.
The Niletic peoples are peoples indigenous to the Nile Valley who speak Niletic languages, who constitute a large subgroup of the Nilo-Saharan languages spoken in South Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, and northern Tanzania.
Right.
In a more general sense, the Niletic peoples include all descendants of the original Nilo-Saharan speakers. Among these are the Luo, Sara, Maasai, Kalenjin.
Ain't that like the Maasai? Click on Maasai right quick, because we got like the Maasai. Ain't that like the Maasai? There you go, Maasai warriors. Oh, remember? Oh, then they had that shit on Black Panther. Because remember, Black Panther was the movie Black Panther was a combination of multiple cultures in Africa. Yep. Like the Wakanda Forever salute. I had made a video about it through the spirit, and because I remember seeing it, I was like, that Wakanda Forever, it sounds similar to something I've seen before in the spirit. And guess what it was? I went into it, looked at it. It was a pharaoh. You know how the pharaoh stood? The pharaoh stood out in front of the people with the cross arm, with the he had the cross arm with the sticks.
Well, that's how they wrapped up.
Yeah, that's how they were wrapped up. That's where you get that Wakanda Forever, and they even talked about it. And in the Black Panther, that it was a combination of multiple cultures, and you would see the Messiah warriors and the shit with the long neck, and the multiple rings around the neck. Now those are Hamitic tribes, but guess what? You got Israelites in the midst of that.
Right.
You got Israelites in the midst of these Messiah warriors that call themselves Sudanese, man.
Right.
And when the Spirit of the Lord hits down there, you're going to see him what? You're going to see him call upon Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKodash. Hey, let me get on that scripture, man, because the Lord spoke about the strangeness of what's happening right now, man. Like, but it's all spiritual. This is Habakkuk chapter 1. Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 5. It says, "Behold, ye among the heathen." And listen to this, Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 5. "Behold, ye amongst the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days which you would not believe, though it be told you." Who is he talking about? He's talking about these brothers that are waking up. He's telling us, and he also talking about these brothers that are waking up, and they're looking around and they're like, yo, it makes sense now. I'm surrounded with fucking Hamites, but I'm not one of them. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing this bullshit ass culture. I've been following this Sudanese culture. You know,
why I don't mesh well with people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they doing wild shit. I can't really get with that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But now it makes sense now. Because although on the outward appearance I look like a Sudanese, really I'm an Israelite, man. Right. Now I'm like, oh, now I know why I was always fucking with Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? I was dancing, I was jumping. They couldn't do. That's what we talking about, man. That's right. That's what we talking about, man. Right. You know?
The Dinka, Nuer, Saluk, Atike, and Amai speaking peoples, each of which is a cluster of several ethnic groups.
Right, it's a cluster. So it's a different groups that pretty much came together. Because you know they had infightings as well, you know what I'm saying? So infightings and stuff like that, tribal warfare. And that happened, you know, but listen, that's just part of history. But hey, we just out here doing our job, which is through the Spirit seek after Israelite souls, man. You know, that's all it is. Now let's go back to let's go back to where we at? The book. Well, no. Now, though, because before we go back to the book, we gotta hit now. Oh, hold on, let me see, because it does describe a few of it. Libya. I keep reading because we already hit Egypt. Just keep reading a little bit.
They come.
And then we're gonna go to put up the map. Keep reading, and then we're gonna hit Ethiopia. Ethiopia next. Actually, let me see. Make sure. Let me try to go through the Spirit. Alright, you know what? Let's hit up. Oh, you know what? Yeah. We're gonna hit up Ethiopia once we get to this paragraph.
Continuing on page 84, it says all these factors were operating and gave rise to the African Jewish population. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
That's right. That's the paragraph that we always bring out, you know, to prove that the nation of Israel fled into Africa, right?
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. Right. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Right. This precept. This is Revelation. Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. It says, "And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood." So I'll read it again. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. "And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman."
That flood represents the men, the troops, and armies coming through as a flood. And what? They came through, and that's why I said over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, because a lot of Jews were getting killed, man. A lot of us were getting killed.
That's right. And the scripture refers to Israel as a woman. Let me just see if I can get that right quick, because that's who the woman is. The woman is speaking about the nation of Israel. This is Isaiah. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 54 and 5. It says, "For thy maker is thine husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the power of the whole earth shall he be called. For the Lord has called thee as a woman, forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth, when thou wast refused, saith thy power." So the Lord has called thee Israel as a woman. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Israel is a woman. So now we go back to Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. It says, "And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood." Verse 16, "And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth." So we on that?
Meaning the earth helped the woman, meaning what? Because we fled into the different lands of Africa, man.
That's right.
And we were able to escape the floods. All right? We were able to escape, because when you go into Africa, guess what? They probably followed in, but they're like, well, we can't distinguish which one who's who. All right?
That's
they're
right.
a dark-skinned nation as well.
That's right. And not only that, remember Rome had many wars going on with certain tribes in Africa, like Carthage. They had a war with Carthage that was going on. So they listen, the Romans wasn't too light in their continent, man. Why? Because they were looked at as the colonizers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which they eventually did colonize or whatever, you know, but hey, the Most High had the nation of Israel flee into that land as part of what? As what you call today as the what? The diaspora. Because the diaspora is really about the scattering and the dispersion of the nation of Israel. Now I have, this is Matthew's chapter 24. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. It says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." The mountains is that earth. It's talking about Africa. It says, "Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house." Meaning, if you was making money, don't be like Lot's wife, trying to go back into the main city. Just get the hell up out of there, man. It says, verse 18, "Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day." You know what I'm saying? So it says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be." Which that goes into, future, going into certain things that we're gonna witness, because the evil that we're gonna, the nation of Israel is gonna witness this time around is gonna be worse than the evil that we witnessed during 70 AD. But that goes back into the diaspora. So the diaspora is what? It's in the scriptures, man. You know, really the diaspora is based on the scriptures, man. For real, yeah, it's secular history, but when you in school, they don't tell you, hey, the diaspora was about the Jews that fled into Africa. Nah, they just said, well, the diaspora was the dispersion in the languages. They always make it what? They always make it broad, you know? Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Reading on, it says, it brings a scripture. It says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone."
But that's the reason why. The reason why the diaspora happened is because of idol worship. You know, the Yahweh Shah clearly stated that what? You know, "Thou shalt not have no other power besides me."
If I may,
continue. Go ahead.
It says that this prophecy and all the residue of the prophecies contained in Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68 befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of God.
That's right. That's what it is. So it befell us when we disobeyed the statutes and commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shah. You know, that's what happened. You know, that the diaspora was the outcome. Which the diaspora was not a good thing. It was a curse. It was a curse. But although it was a curse, the Heavenly Father always does that. Like, He'll set up a curse that will end up being a blessing afterward. Because through that curse, called the diaspora. It's through that curse that we were able to that we were able to be more spiritual now. Why? Because now, instead of trying to follow the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, carnally, right? Now we have to follow Yahweh Shem Yahshua spiritually in faith, so we can even recognize our brothers.
But you gotta understand, when the diaspora really is a mental thing as well, man.
That's right.
Because remember, Israel always traveled to other lands and became, they was known as strangers, Israelite foreigners.
That's right.
The thing is, when we fell away and lost our power, remember, as long as we come back and serve our power, you know, we lived in other lands.
That's
It
right.
really happened when our minds got scattered.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And that's the main reason why we're going into this, because like you said earlier in the show, that Israel was always used to going in and out of the country. But this diaspora was different. This was after the Lord had pretty much turned his face from the nation of Israel. Meaning his face, when you go back into the word face, is what? It's image.
Right.
You know, which I've been going into that through the Spirit, that the image is talking about what? The image in Genesis.
Right.
Which is the image, which is the way of life of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So when we turned away from the way of life of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, it was no longer 1 or 2 or 3 individuals leaving out of the country and coming back, or leaving out to do business. It was like, all of y'all get the fuck out of here. The Most High just said, get the fuck out of my face, man. You know, to be, you know, excuse my language, that's what it was. That's our history, you know.
It says, many nations transported the Jews into slavery, and the sons of Israel transmigrated to every continent. The Jewish philosopher Philo, about 40 BC through 40 AD, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt.
Look up the word transmigrate. That's a big word right there, man. Man, because I think trans means like the turn, like to form or something.
Or change.
A change.
Basically change lands.
I got the animal line right good. Right quick. That's a big word. Transmigrating.
Transmigration.
Transmigration.
Exile, diaspora.
Exile, diaspora. There you go.
Change of country.
Change of country. Who changed their land? It's the nation of Israel. Let me get this right quick, my brother, before we go continue on that. This is it's like it. This is Amos. This is Amos chapter 7, verse 17. Well, actually, I'm gonna start it. All right, yeah, Amos. Yeah, Amos chapter 7, verse 17. It says, "Therefore, there saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land." You know, so going back to the what's the word?
Transmigration.
Transmigration. You know what I'm saying? Meaning the trans was what? The change?
Yeah.
And migration means
or crossover.
And migrate, man, what? Because
transmigration, migrate. To migrate.
Right. Yeah, yep.
Beyond over, migrate.
Yeah, migrate over, meaning to move over, right?
Because migrate means removal, change of abode.
That's right, change of abode.
Beyond.
Change beyond. And that's what the diaspora was about. It was, and when that happened, you know how we are Israelite men. Regardless of where we go, we're going to lay our seeds.
Yep.
And guess what gets passed through our seed? Spirits, Israelite spirits. Israelite spirits get transferred from Israelite sperm, man. That's the reason why another reason why we know Yahweh Shah was born of a what? Of an Israelite sperm. The sperm of Joseph. It's through the sperm of Joseph, of Yahweh Shah, that the spirit of Israelite spirit, the greatest Israelite spirit, was transferred through that Israelite seed, a sperm, man. So hey, let's go put the image on
the map.
With the map. Every time you read it, rock shit.
Put that up there like that. Alright, continuing on in the book, it says, the Jewish philosopher Philo, about 40 BC through 40 AD, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt, said that 1 million Jews resided in Libya and Egypt from the Catabathmos to the borders of Ethiopia. Professor A.H. Godby says that Philo leaves us doubtful about which boundaries of Ethiopia he meant. I think that Philo meant the western and southern boundaries of Ethiopia, because the prophet Zephaniah mentioned from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia.
Right, now let me get that scripture, because it...
If I may.
Yeah,
it says from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, the daughters of my dispersed.
That's right. Now, let's get it. Zephaniah, because I had it. Is Zephaniah chapter 3? I think Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 10. See if you can pull that up, brother, on the screen. You know, to prove that you have Ethiopians, Cushites. You know, they might look like Cushites on the outside, but they are Israelites. And as a matter of fact, it's funny because you also got Eritrea, you know, Eritrea, which those, although they can't stand Cushite, they're all Cushites. They're all just different tribes and different, right? Somalis, they're just different sons of Cush, you know, but they just hate each other. But guess what? The Eritreans there's a heavy influx of Israelite in that so-called tribe, you know. Although they're not going to accept it like they're not going to look at it like that as a tribe, but there is a heavy influx of Israelites among them. And we met one of them in Columbia Heights when I was with the younger brothers, GMS Pilgrims. The video was a little choppy, but I mean, the dude looked like Deshaun Jackson, a football player. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? He had been told, and he was reluctant to come and talk to us. He wanted to speak to us, but he had listened to guess who? General Yahada and Yahada. We fucking hate Africans. Fuck Africans. We ain't Africans. Well, guess what? We broke it down through the spirit to him that Yahana is a pseudo-prophet. Meaning he's a faker. He's not a man of the Lord. He's carnal. And then we told him straight up, like, listen, we can tell, man, your spirit, we can tell you're an Israelite, man. And then he got it. He was listening. And then, you know, we gave him the website, you know what I'm saying, so he could watch the videos, you know. And that's our job. As far as him being an elect, you don't know if he's part of the elect. All you can do is do your job, man. You know? So, this is, see, I'll make sure I bring it. This is
the brother said Yahana going to basically die horribly. Yeah, he's going to. You know?
Yeah,
he's going to die horribly, man.
Yeah, man. Can't do shit like that, man. Those are Israelite brothers, man. Those are brothers, man. Because why? Because you carnal. That's why the Heavenly Father allowed the diaspora to happen.
So he wanted to talk to them, and they were like, "You Africans."
Yeah, that's what he told us.
He wanted to talk to them.
Yeah, he told us.
The Lord is gonna kill.
That's why when he came at us, he's like, "Man, I ain't with this Israelite stuff. I know y'all Israelites hate Africans." I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? That's when through the spirit we broke it down to him, man.
Especially his spirit was revived after that one, man. You know?
Yeah, brother. You could see him leave out, and he was like, you could see his energy was a little different. Like, this is totally different from what I heard from them niggas in all black. You know, come on, man. This is Zephaniah. This is the reference. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, Zephaniah chapter 3. I'm going to start at 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all of the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." This is Yahushua. Verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. That's talking about the nation of Israel. Right? The pure language is the Lashon Kodash, the Hebrew. It says, verse 10, it says, "From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering." Now look up the word suppliants.
The Hebrew word is suppliants is ithar. Ithar. Suppliant, worshiper.
Oh, the worshiper. Go ahead.
Hence worshiper.
Well, it says worshiper. Didn't the scripture say in John 4, the true worshippers, the hour cometh, when the true worshippers shall worship the Heavenly Father in spirit and in truth? So who are those worshippers that are going to come from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia? It's talking about Israelites.
Oh, what about the man of Ethiopia?
Let's get that. Let's get that. Brother, because that's something I thought about. I just forgot to write it down. But Vakushah, if we can get that.
This is Acts 8 and verse
Oh, I got a comment. This dude, General, said, Johanna just admitted recently that some Africans are Israelites. Well, hey, he don't have a choice. That truth is hot.
Right. Acts 8:27.
Right.
It says, and he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians.
Right, so that you have Israelite souls that the Heavenly Father has sent what? Beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, man. Go ahead.
Okay. It says, who had the charge of all her treasure and had come to Jerusalem for to worship.
Right, and Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, she was actually a Cushite. Exactly. She was a heathen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, hey, he worked for a heathen. How many of us work for heathens?
Yeah, no difference.
You know what I'm saying? And you know the way he looked, he might have not looked like a straight up Judite, Benjamin, or Levite. He might have been, you never know, he might have been let's say his mother could have been a Cushite, and that, you know, that alters the way you look. Yeah. You know, or he might have been born in Ethiopia. That alters the way you look. So, but at the end of the day, come on, man. Everybody knew he was a Jake. He knew he was a Jake.
People can't get out of the mindset of how things are in America. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, they act like before we came to America, we was just monkeys or whatever. It was just bound for slavery. Yeah. Just always, like it wasn't the history before we went into slavery. Yeah. Because, bro, if we're scattered abroad, you're going to pop another nation's woman. Yeah. And the first thing in our people's mind, well, wait a minute. If we're in these other people's land and they hate us, how are we going to get their women? The Most High put something on these heathen women's minds to like Jake.
That's right.
You would know that if you lived in another country or another land before.
That's right.
If Jake, especially ones that's in the military, if Jake lives over in a land long enough, eventually he's going to pop one of their women, man.
Right.
And that's how kids get born, man. It happens, man. You know, you can't. It's nothing new under the sun. We was in the Roman armies. You know, we was in the Greek armies. We was in different armies back then. We in American armies now, British armies now. You know, it's nothing new under the sun, man.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. I mean, hey, this is like your brother said, Israel, and you know, listen, the heathens, they got some fine ass women too, man. And when these women are so fine, and you remember, you don't get a lot of static from the heathen women. You know, now our women, the Israelite woman, is like the scripture said in Exodus. The midwife, they say that our women are lively, meaning they have personality. Now our women are totally different. Back then they were lively and they also loved us, but the heathen women, you don't get a lot of static from them because they're just different. They don't have that extra, you know what I'm saying? They just don't have it. So if you want peace, a lot of times the heathen woman is gonna give you peace a lot of times. But the thing is, you're gonna have to deal with fucking gods. You have to deal with her fucking belief, which that's idol worship if you put your mind into that. That's why the Lord said, nah, don't marry these women, man. You know? But Jake still did it. You know? Jake did it, man. And they brought forth children. And those children are Israelites, whether you like it or not. You know? Alright, let's hit our Ethiopia.
Come.
Let's hit Ethiopia right quick.
Come. It says, there was a period of over 600 years between Zephaniah and Philo, and considering the new waves of immigrants coming into Africa, they had 600 years to penetrate toward all the borders of Ethiopia.
Right, now let's get the images.
All right.
What does Ethiopia mean, brother? Look that up, Buckshot.
Burnt face.
Oh, yeah?
If I'm not mistaken, Ethiopia is Greek.
Yep.
Ethiopia, Ethiops.
Ethiops.
See, Ethiop, Negro, Ethian to burn, Ops face.
Ops face.
Yeah, burnt face.
Burnt face. Fiery looking. Sunburn.
Later sunburn, yeah. But that's what the Greeks call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it. And because remember, when you go back to the ancient map, you look at the location of Ethiopia, we looked that up. You know what I'm saying? That was a different place. That was Central Africa. You know, the ancient Ethiopia, when you look at the ancient map, that was Central Africa. That's when you get them, you know, it wasn't really talking about the Cushites.
Right.
when you look at ancient Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these are different things. That's why you need to know the history.
Right.
You know, now the Ethiopians are known as, you know, it's what we know as the Cushites.
That's right. I'm going to get the pictures as the brother wanted. We got it basically.
Yeah, get the tribes first.
Going to the list
yep.
of ethnic groups in Ethiopia. And you see the different names here. And the first one we're going to focus on is the Omoro.
Yeah, Omoro.
Omoro, if I'm, you know, Salaki, if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah.
And you scroll down, you see the Omoro right here. So we
yeah,
pulled up
yep.
the
And also type in you on Wikipedia, click on
well,
Omoro.
no, not on Wikipedia.
Well, go to Omoro
right
and click and see if we can read one paragraph about it.
Okay. Oromo people are an ethnic group inhabiting Ethiopia and parts of Kenya and Somalia. They are the largest ethnic groups in Ethiopia and the wider Horn of Africa.
Right, that's the Horn, you know, when you look at the African continent, that Horn, that's where they're located at.
According to the 2007 census, they represent approximately 34.5% of Ethiopia's population, while others estimate they make up 40% of the population. With the total Ethiopian population thought to be over 102 million, the number of the Oromo people exceeds 35 million in Ethiopia alone.
So they're the majority. Pull up the images, the Oromo people.
And right there.
That's how they look like.
That looks like a
they're a
Jake.
little darker. Yeah.
It looks like a straight up Jake right there.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody you know in school.
Yeah. You know, I went to school in Silver Spring, and they're heavy down there, man. I've been around Cushites, man. In my life, brother. Whew, man, I tell you. They come in different shapes and sizes, and I've seen a lot of them with jakes, others was just straight up heathens. You know, they had some fine ones that were jakes. But they didn't really want to fuck with us, you know, because it's all carnal, man. You know, they fuck with what they believe is their own people.
Right.
But now when I look back, I'm like, oh, that was a jake. Oh, that was a jake.
Right.
Yeah, those are the Oromo people. You see, they're really into that Olympic stuff, with the marathon and stuff.
Right.
You know, Kush is known for that, you know, running long distance.
Running, yeah.
You know, that's really a Gadite spirit, if you think about it. I mean, I'm not saying all of them that, you know, run that long distance are Gadites. I'm just saying, like, Benjamin as well. Benjamin, right there, running yeah. So, yeah, you got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in Ethiopia right now, man. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, guess what? The elect that are part of the Oromo people, look at this chick right here, man. Does she look like, man? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Look at her, man.
Yeah. Bad, too.
Come on, man.
Bad.
Come on, man. So, you know, hey, man, listen. Like I said, you have no right, man, to look at the people and feel the spirit and see the Israelite spirit, but say, nah, you ain't one of us because you look like a heathen, man. That means you are really not, the Lord's not dealing with you. I got a quick precept. This is, this is 2 Corinthians, Salakia. 1 Corinthians. My bad. Alright, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10. It says, but Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua revealeth them, I'm sorry, 9. But it is written, eye has not seen, nor ears heard, neither have entered into the heart of men the things which Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has prepared for them that love him. But Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit search of all things. Listen, you think we the ones doing this? This is the Spirit of the Lord. You know, this project that we've embarked on, it's a spiritual thing, man. And it's searching all things to reveal the truth that Israelites elect are scattered across the four winds, man. The diaspora was the scattering of Israelite souls amongst the heathens. So if you see your respective tribe here, and you've been watching videos and your spirit goes and matches well over the scriptures and the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding the proper doctrine, then you one of us. And you could be part of the elect, right? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of a man which is in him? Even so the things of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua knoweth no man, but the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of Yahweh. The spirit of the world is the spirit that the Yohanan got. Because that world right there is talking about what? That's cosmos. That's talking about the spirit of the 2/3 out of the nation of Israel. Which the spirit of the 2/3 is a spirit that judges things on a carnal level, on a physical level. But the spirit of the elect is a spirit that judges things on the spiritual level. It says, but the Spirit which is of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Yahweh. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. So that's how we roll through the Spirit, man. It's all through the Spirit. That's how we're able to tell. You know, that's why we're able to bring this information out, man. This edification out. So let's go back to, there was another tribe. I read up on another tribe, though, man. It felt like it was, like, really heavy. Like, what are some of the other tribes that they got, bro?
We got, let's see, we go back.
AMHARA. Bakasha, look them up.
Okay.
Amhara.
Amhara, also known as, let me see, Salaki,
make sure you copy and paste to see the images, how they look like. Yeah, just copy just in case.
Also known as Abyssinians, are the ethnic group traditionally inhabiting the northern and central highlands of Ethiopia, particularly the Amhara region. According to the 2007 national census, they numbered 19,867,817 individuals, comprising 26.9% of Ethiopia's population. They are also found within the Ethiopian expatriate community, particularly in North America, Salakia. The Amharas claim to originate from Solomon and primarily adhere to the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church.
Right, because Solomon did have, when you go to, what's that, the second case? The women, Ethiopia said that one of the women said he loved, had many wives.
Wow, yeah.
The women of Ethiopia, it gives you like a,
here
you go, First Kings. This is first, yeah, there you go.
I think there's a couple down. Yeah.
But you gotta go all the way down, right? It was First Kings 11.
Salaki, it's the second king. Yeah, it's the 11th chapter.
Yeah, you want to read it? Go ahead, brother.
Trying to get to. It says, 1 Kings 11:1, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Other nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you, meaning make agreements. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Okay, that showed the women, pretty much the women.
That's right.
The different types of women he had. They said he had let's see. Yeah, verse 3. It says, and he has 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart.
That's right.
And he had a lot of women.
He had a lot of women, and you better believe that the Cushites. I don't remember exactly, but I think there might have been a part where, you know, he also had like Ethiopia, but you know he had women of Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? No doubt about that, because another thing that you know about the Cushites or Ethiopians is that even going back to Samaria, when the northern kingdom was brought into captivity, right, in the Assyrian captivity, who dwelled in that land? The Cushites, Ethiopians. So throughout, and even during the time of Nehemiah, you know, the Cushites wanted to help Nehemiah build the temple, and Nehemiah's like, nah, you ain't got no parts of this. You ain't got no parts in this. Right. So the Cushites have always been a nation that they've always wanted to be around us. Everywhere you see a Jake, everywhere you see Israel, you're going to see some Cushites.
The heathen trip.
Yeah, they always trying to hit, like, when we camp, Who always, there's always a Cushite stopping.
Handing out a Christian pamphlet.
He's standing there listening to us.
Yeah.
Like, what are they talking about? So Cush has always been attracted to our energy.
Yeah.
They're envious tremendously. And they got bad women too. So you think Solomon didn't see what he liked? Come on, man.
Well, the mix up a lot of people get with Solomon, they say, well, he had sex with the queen.
Yeah, well, now they...
And then, you know, that's when they get off into all that. Well, if that was the case, then the son would have came out and been an Israelite. That's plain and simple.
Yeah, but you know, the reason why they bring that up, because after they research, that's the only link that they can see.
Yeah, to Haile Selassie, Rastafari.
Right, that's the only link that they can see. That's why they want to use that. But listen, we don't go off of that.
Yep.
We go off of the simple fact that Solomon had many wives, and we know that Cush has always been a neighboring nation to the nation of Israel, man. Always leeching off on this, man. Yep. That's why the Lord told the Cushite woman at the well, you know not what you worship. You know, because we know what we worship. Because salvation is of the Jews. So the Cushites were going in there, calling themselves trying to worship, you know, our power. Yahweh, no, man, it's not your power. You know, but guess what? Israel has many sons and daughters in what? Within Cush, man. And they're not Cushites, they're Israelites that just happen to look like Cushites, man.
Then Yahushua tell her to go bring their man.
That's right.
I mean, hey, it could have been an Israelite.
That's right. Yeah. Well, because Yahushua already knew she was dealing with multiple men.
Yeah.
Which I mean, listen, remember Candace the Queen? When you look up Candace the Queen, she had multiple husbands. That's what a queen was. Candace the Queen had multiple partners, males. So that was a Cushite thing, you know what I'm saying, that for women to have multiple males like that, man. Get around like that. Israelite women ain't supposed to be doing that. You know? Really, normally, no woman is supposed to be doing that, but, you know, those are the heathens. That wasn't given the image of the Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, the way of life. Go ahead.
All right, going back to the Haras.
Right.
They speak Horic, an Afro-Asiatic language of the Semitic branch, a member of the Ethio-Semitic group, which serves as the official language of Ethiopia. I'm going to bring up the images of the people here. This is the Oromo people from the last time, so see, you know, a lot of these women be here in Silver Spring.
Yeah, remember that's what it says. It says expatriate in North America.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
If you go back to it, right quick, the Wikipedia page, look, it says right there, expatriate community, particularly in North America.
Right, yeah.
So that can be said.
Click on that and see Silver Spring.
Right. So yeah. So the majority of the ones that we see out here from what's that? I'm Haras. Yeah. You know, these are your Cushite. Look at this. Ain't this a nigga woman?
Yeah.
Don't that look like ain't that official? Look at that. Ain't this a nigga right here? Look at that.
Yeah, come on now.
Go to and look at the guns too. Go to you go to Instagram now. I'm not saying you. I'm saying if you go to Instagram and how many pictures you gonna see of niggas doing shit like that, man? Making faces. Come on, man. So even in the midst of the Amahas, you know, yeah, like you said, these are the Silver Spring Cushites. These are the Cushites you see out here heavy.
Yeah, look at old Jake.
Yeah, they look like some old black women.
Yeah.
Some old black women just running the household, you know, being matriarch. You know, what's that, matriarchs? That's what they look like, man.
A lot of older women they say, they got that.
Yeah, that Monique spirit, man. That old Monique spirit, man. Come on, but like that's what the diaspora is all about, man. That's what the diaspora is all about. You have Israelites in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying? All these particular tribes.
Yep.
That's right.
I'll leave that up.
Yeah, brother.
Going back
to the map up.
Oh, the map up. Bring the map. Come.
And then a little bit. Then we gonna hit. I think starting this one, we gonna hit Libya, and after Libya, we gonna wrap up part one.
Come. It says they had 600 years to penetrate toward all the borders of Ethiopia. E. Shore wrote that Hebrewism was detectable, Salakia, by its inscriptions from the Egyptian border westward across North Africa to Mauritania. A.H. Godby says Jerome 340 through 420 A.D., one of the four doctors of the church, wrote that the Jews were spread from the western extremity of Mauritania to India. Now, ancient Mauritania included part of the territory of the Atlantic Ocean, Morocco, and part of the modern Algeria. It is certain that the Jews had migrated all across North Africa by the 2nd century. Some scholars fix the date earlier than this.
Right, which Lord willing, part 2, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and show you that Israel is in the midst of that. Even though the modern day Algerians, which are Arabs, whatever, Moroccans, I mean, these are, and also what's that, Put, right? Put, because remember, Ham had 4 children.
That'd be Libya.
Right, Libya, it's like it, Libya.
Which that's
Put, which is Libya, show you that the nation of Israel is also in those parts.
All right, pull up the map. It says the Greek historian and geographer Strabo, 63 BC through 24 AD, said concerning the Jews of Cyrene, which is Libya.
Right.
Now these Jews already have gotten into all cities, and it is hard to find a place in the habitable earth that has not admitted this tribe of men and is not possessed by it. And it has come to pass that Egypt and Cyrene, as having the same governors, and a great many other nations imitate their way of living.
Right, where we're living, the Israelites, because they are. Go ahead, you want?
Maintain great bodies of these Jews in a peculiar manner, privileged status, and grow up to greater prosperity with them, and make use of the same laws with that nation also.
Speak on it, man.
Make use of the same laws. If I'm not mistaken, Slakia, I was thinking something else. But a lot of who you think that looks like Ethiopians, they're really Jakes. Yeah. Trying to keep the laws, man.
Yeah.
They may think it's a Christian way or another type of way.
To my Philosophian Jews.
Well, they're called the false. But hey, it's Israel amongst them.
Right. That's the thing that's amazing about it, is because they look like Cushites. They call themselves Jews, and they've been named Philosophian Jews.
Who called them Philosophian Jews?
So-called Jew rats.
Right. They called them because they're thinking they're the Jews. So they called them the Philosophian Jews, and the Philosophian Jews actually try to keep the customs of Israel.
And like you said, a lot of them are Israelites.
Right.
That's why these spirits gravitate towards the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
The more ancient way, not the more Christian modern way. They try to.
That's right.
Yeah, because a lot of those Philosophian Jews are really not Philosophian at all.
That's right. They're not. They're actually Jews.
Yeah.
They're actually Jews that look like Cushites.
Unlike the so-called white man.
That's right.
Which is really the Philosophian Jew.
That's right. The so-called Jew. That's why we call them rats. Gutter rats, man. After the diaspora, you stole our nationality, you stole our identity. And you walking around calling yourself a what? An Israelite or Jew. And then we ask you about the different tribes. It's Judah. Well, what about the other tribes? Well, they're scattered abroad. Well, yeah, they're scattering is the diaspora, but guess what? All the tribes are scattered, man.
All they know is 2. They say Judah and Levi.
And Levi. Yeah, Levi. They call Levi.
They say, they don't say Levi, Levi.
They're just off, man. The language, the Yiddish, that's off. That spirit is off, man. You know what a so-called Jew is? That's just like, Yahweh Shem Yashad on Apostle. Hold on right quick, because the elder sent me a text. That's me from Morocco when you do the red hot. Hey, no, Elder Metal guy said he got some hot stuff when we go into Morocco next week, Lord willing, part 2. Hey, that'll be your part, brother. Lord willing, if you can make it, you know what I'm saying? If you can make it, brother. If not, we can still put you on the on the call, brother. So definitely looking forward to that. What was I talking about, man? I lost my train of thought for a minute.
Nah, it's lucky. Talking about the matter of fact.
Hey.
Hold on. Slock. That's maybe your brother.
Yeah, it'll come back. But
I was thinking something else too.
Well,
you're talking about the Philosophian Jews.
Right. There you go. Right. Got it. Right. I was saying the so-called Jew rats in the land of Israel right now. Just like Apostle made a video, even the elders, about the due nature of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Everything comes in two. You got the right and you got the false.
Right.
You got the good, you got the bad.
Right.
And it's like it had to have like the existence of fake Jews had to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to have a group that was gonna walk around the earth and call themselves us. Yeah. Just like you got everything comes in two. You got the real Jews, you got the fake Jews. You got the real prophet, you got the fake prophets. So this was supposed to happen.
It's balance. Because if we got destroyed and we lost our heritage, then somebody was going to say, okay, let me take that up.
That's right.
Somebody said, I got to protect, since they lost it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that balance.
That's right.
Even in wickedness, you know,
like
it's that,
darkness.
like, hey, who's the worst people on the planet Earth right now? Out of all the tribes, all of the nations, who's the worst tribe out of all the people on the planet Earth?
Known.
Judites.
That's right, known.
We're the lowest out of all, even of the 12 tribes, we are the lowest.
Look down upon.
Now, who's the highest?
Amalek.
Exactly. Who's the highest of Esau?
Amalek.
Amalek's the highest, man.
That's right.
So it's that balance, man.
That's right. That's right. All right, brother. Let's go to Libya. Let's pull up Libya. Because if I'm not mistaken, as far as this was the end of part 1, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, let's look up Libya, and we're gonna look at certain different tribes, and probably bring a few more scriptures, and then we end it right there. Like I said, this is the first installment of this project through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You know, going with the Spirit. You know, and the more we do this, the more it'll be more crisp. It'll be more information. It'll be more concentrated. You know, you know. But it's all for edification, man. You know, the Lord. When you got to remember, this is the bread of life that's being broken down. Remember the Last Supper, when Yahushua broke the bread, he was like, "This is my bread," and he broke that bread. It was symbolic. Right. It was breaking down the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right. And what did he do? He passed the bread. Remember, he passed the bread to the disciples, right? What did they do? They held it and they broke it and passed it to the next brother. Right. Meaning, every time the bread has been broken to us, the bread of life, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding has been broken to us and passed to us by Yahushua. We got to do the same thing. Yeah. So we also got to break the bread and pass it to you, brothers. And you can break the bread and pass it around. So that's what it is. This is a supper right now. We breaking this bread, man. You know, and specifically, you know, right now, you know, to the elect Gentiles, Israelite foreigners scattered across the four winds that don't even look like Israelites, but are Israelites because their spirit is an Israelite spirit. Go ahead.
This is Libya officially.
You got like different tribes in Libya? Type that in. And then we could just go off of that. Different tribes in Libya. Because, you know, Libya, that's another thing with the history. There's an ancient Libya and there's a modern day Libya. That's another thing as well. So let's deal with that.
Arab, Berber, Tuareg, Talbu, uninhabited.
So let's look up. You don't even know what Arab is, man. Like that's that influx of fucking Ishmael and you know, taking over northern Africa with Islam and shit like that.
Look at this. The Arabs, the Berbers, the Tibu, the Jews, ancient Berbers, but you know that might be.
Well, let's click on it and see what they got.
The Jews, the Jewish community of North Africa, must not be confused with the later Jews who arrived after the expulsion from Spain.
which listen, the expulsion from Spain, which no one we're gonna go into that in the Babylon and Timbuktu. It's speaking about the Spanish Inquisition. You know, the Spanish Inquisition is when the Jews that were living in Spain, all for the diaspora, right? Because remember, right now we're just talking about the diaspora that happened in Ham. But in these places in the book, we're also going to hit places, the diaspora that happened in different places in Europe. So when you talking about the Inquisition, it was Israelites living in Spain, and I think it was King John II that pretty much kicked them. He kicked them out. And let me see if I can read it right quick for edification. Because they all Israelites, man. When you say, oh, they're not to be confused, no, they are all Israelites. The thing, see, you can only get so much with secular history. Why? Because secular history is not spiritual. You know, so you got to be spiritual to get the whole thing. Let me see if I can get this right quick. I know it's one of these pages. Salaki.
Now on here it says the Berber Jews, since that was one of the tribes in Libya, it said the Berbers who adopted the Jewish faith long before the arrival of Islam, like the Nafus in Tripoli, the Nefzawa in Tanzania, or Tunisia, Slovakia, and other tribes from Algeria and Morocco and some desert oasis. Alright? It does talk about that, but I want to get... Let me see what they look like. While the brother's looking for that.
Oh, alright. There you go.
Well, they don't look like traditional, but then again, you never know. You're scattered, man.
Yeah, see, some of them are dark skinned, some of
them
them straight
look
up
like
Israelites.
Jakes. Some of them look like Jakes. Like Jakes in the midst of that. And once again, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. The diaspora was mostly the dispersion of the spirit, Israelite spirits.
Like light-skinned Jakes. So, you know.
And you know, some of them are of the Northern Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna find out when we get deeper into Babylon and Timbuktu. You're gonna find out Simeonites in Northern Africa, brother. Simeonites that were making business deals and trades and had children in Northern Africa. So it's gonna be some good stuff like Morocco. Morocco's full of Simeonites. So this is about, you know, what they said about going back to what he said about Libya. Read that one phrase again.
The Jewish community of North Africa must not be confused with the later Jews who arrived after their expulsion from Spain.
Right. Keep reading.
Under the Roman rule, the Jews were living in harmony with the native Berbers until the 1st century, when the Israeli Jonathan reportedly excited the poor to revolt in Cyrene in 73 BC, only to be crushed by the Romans.
Right. But see, he said Israeli Jonathan is 73 BC. Well, right, because remember, we talking about this period. This is of course, Babylon and Timbuktu, page 116. It says during the reign, the history of the Israelites that came from Spain. This it says this page 116. It says during the reign of King Jaro II or King John II, 700 black Hebrew children were ruthlessly taken away from their parents in Portugal and transported in the island of San Thome, which when you're talking about Portugal, you know, Portugal, Spain, that whole area, right? It says Portugal and transported to the island of San Thome off the west coast of Africa. This island is located near Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon. Ellen H. Gabi says that the Portuguese founded the island of San Thome in 1471. In the year 1484, King John II of Portugal, who reigned from 1481 to 1495, offered the Jews in his kingdom the choice of baptism or settling at San Thome. Multitude of Jews were sent to this island during the reign of King John II. These Jews, Judeos, as the Portuguese called them, are serious, reserved, and wealthy, holding most of the trade of their hands. There was another one. I think that's not told. Because there's a few of them. There's another one that when it actually says that they were running from the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah, I can't find it off the top, but there was another one that when it actually speaks about Jake fleeing from the Spanish Inquisition. Those are the Israelites, you know, because they didn't want to, you know, follow Christianity, man. So for him to say, well, they're not, well, it might have been a different. You see, migrations happen in different waves as well. So just because a migration happened in a different wave, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not the same people. You know. So let's go to the other one.
Tebow.
Yeah, Tebow.
Tebow, also Tebow, are a group of tribes found to the east of Fizan, as well as in and around Tibesti Mountain, which the name of Tibesti itself, the region from which a number of Akkadian presidents were said to have come, including Godu, Odi, and Hissini Habri. Let me go to...
Let me get the images.
Yeah, just wanted to read a sentence off of that.
The Tebow?
Yeah, like Tebow. Right? Yeah, see?
Oh, okay.
Tebow or Tibis.
Oh, okay.
It's pronounced different ways.
Yeah. Wow.
Let me type
the type of people, yeah. Tibis.
Libyan people and ethnic tribes.
Now you getting the real scoop. Now you get the real Libyans or push.
Something else.
Because like I said, that's why I remember. That's why I made the statement. Ancient Libya and modern day Libya. You know.
No, that's something else.
Go back to the images that we had earlier. Like right. What does that say?
Tribal art doesn't say that they coming from that.
Yeah.
You see,
Look up another word. Wow. But see, you got them Arabs. You got somebody said. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's when you look at Libya right now, man. It's just, you know, it's just divided. Even right now, since Libya fell to Libya, as we know, as far as like the land Libya, it's really like a mixture of a whole lot of different things. You know, you got Arabs in there. You know, Ishmael in there. You got Hamites in there.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything.
Pure cool.
A representative from the Tibu ethnic group shakes hands with a Tuareg woman in Sabah, April 1st, 2012.
Those are dark-skinned motherfuckers.
And that's right, a representative from the Tibu ethnic tribe.
Yeah. Look at this skin. Look at this skin, bro. That don't look like, what was that, Gaddafi? No, Gaddafi? Yeah, Gaddafi. Gaddafi didn't look like that.
But Muammar Gaddafi could have been Israelite.
Yeah, it could, you know.
Could have been.
Could have been. Yeah. But these are dark-skinned, dark-skinned people. That goes back to what Libya put, the original put. But you have Israelites in the midst of that, man.
Tobo people, see that?
Oh man, look at that.
Tobo women, let me see.
Look at that.
See, Tobo, see that? It's one of the names right there.
Yep.
Within that. So when you go back, look, it says Tobo women.
Yep.
They look like Jake's here.
Wow.
You know, right here?
Yeah, but you can see they got like Hamite features.
Yeah,
slightly, but you can see the spirit through that.
Yeah.
But just that basic look. Ah, shit.
Oh, shit.
So that's where they. But that's what they got there. Wakanda shit. Wow. Wow, you see that?
Yeah.
So you got, like you said, you got the Tubu people, you got Israelites in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And you could potentially have elects that, elect Israelites in the midst of it.
Yeah.
You know, let me read that scripture. This is Revelation.
Oh man, I don't think switched over. These were the pictures that we were talking about, Aki. A lot of brothers looking for that.
Oh, so it wasn't switched over?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just pull up the scripture, man. The pictures while I get the precept. Really, I think we're gonna close with this.
God.
This is part one. Hopefully, a little one in the future. It'll be a little bit shorter. I mean, it's all through the spirit.
I mean, this it's spiritual because this was our first run. Of course, the first run is gonna be, we getting into it, exciting.
Yeah.
Brothers are on there on the comment board talking about I'm from Sudan, we up in Canada, and then later on, we hit up tribes, points, more brothers come. More information gets sent out. More people come to the camps.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm from here. I heard you.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's watching, man. Remember we had the goddamn not heavyweight, the world champ.
Yeah. What's the dude, man?
What's his name? Joppy. William Joppy.
Yeah.
Now he came up and he was sincere as hell.
Mm-hmm.
He got a gym out there in Tacoma Park, Maryland. His trainer came out the following week and was like, "Oh yeah, y'all talking to that dude Joppy. I was his trainer. I watched y'all. Like, where'd he come from?
That's right.
That means that dude could have been watching us. That's the thing. We just pushing the word out.
That's right. All right. This is we're gonna close with this. This is Revelation chapter 7. I'm gonna start at 1. It says, And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the winds, stay on the pictures, brother. And I'm going to read it again. Revelation 7:1, it says, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. I'm gonna keep going. Verse 4 says, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 in all of the tribes of the children of Israel. And of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, of Ephraim, was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and psalms and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem HaKadosh, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, saying, Amen, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our power forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they but before the throne of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. There shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them into living fountains of waters. And Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem HaKadosh, shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. You know, that's the whole chapter, you know, Revelation 7th chapter, you know, going into the scattered of the nation of Israel. As you see, you know, through the Spirit, you know, this is the diaspora of the Hebrew Israelites, you know, particularly the elect. This is a project through the Spirit. This is part 1. Lord willing, we're going to continue to do this on a week, 1 episode a week, right? You know what I'm saying? Through the Spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, put out more edification, man, because the elect are being sealed. The Third World War is right around the corner. The microchip is right around the corner. Race wars, we're going into the age of race wars. That's coming up. So it's time for the elect to be sealed, man. You have any last words up?
Just remember that, you know, Israel that look like other nations, you have a family, man. You finally have a home, man.
That's right.
You know, you've been wondering all your life why you different from people that look like you, and you look just like them, but you're different. And they hate you because it's the spirit, you got the spirit of an Israelite on you, so the curses are still on you. You got a home now, man. You're gonna listen to, you know, niggas talking about, you know, you're African or you're whatever other tribe in the world. If you believe in what we're teaching, and something's different about you in your spirit, then you're an Israelite, man. You know?
That's right. With that, we're going to say, Kal Halal, Yahweh, B'Shem, Yahushua, B'Shem, HaKadosh. We're going to give double honors, of course, to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutation to all you sincere octaves elect that is scattered across the 4 winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. And, of course, you stay faithful, stay strong. It's the DC camp. I'm the brother, Kasat Magan.
Zion Allah.
That's right. And Lord willing, like I said, next week we're gonna go to part 2. What's that? Page 83. And what's that? Northern Africa.
Yep.
The Hebrew, the black Jews of Northern Africa.
Yep.
So Lord willing, next week we're gonna hit Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, places like that. You know what I'm saying? Seeking through the Spirit on the elect scattered, you know, throughout the diaspora.
That's right.
So with that, we're gonna say Shalom.
Shalom.